It was around 6:30 p.m. and this was 3 days ago. So I was still working out in the gym. I was just trying to get through my sets and I ran into an old friend that I hadn't seen in a couple of years actually. I was asking him what he was doing and he was telling me how he was into finance and how he was basically working his ass off to get higher onto the corporate ladder. And yeah, I just took a moment to listen to what his story was, where he's headed, what he's planning to do. And I asked him, "Hey man, what is it that you actually want to do with your life? Like, what's the end goal? What's the plan?" And with him, he was telling me about how in his dream life he would see himself at around 40 or 45 being settled and finally finding a way to retire so that he doesn't have to work anymore at that point. And he would like to buy a nice house. He would like to buy a nice car. He'd like to obviously be able to spoil his wife at that point if he were to end up getting married. He was telling me all of these things that he wanted to do, and all of them revolved around money. All of them revolved around earning money. And in his justification, it was basically him saying that I'm willing to sacrifice the next 20, 25 years of my life in order to get to that end goal of when I'm 45 and I can actually be able to afford, all of this. And it got me thinking, what is it that most people want to do with their lives? Like, what is the end goal? And I think for most people, it's the same thing. It's they want to earn money. They want to sacrifice the time that I have right now. Ideally, if they aren't lazy, they'd like to sacrifice the time that they have right now in order to be able to afford a nice car, a nice house, basically a settled life in all instances. And frankly, I used to think the same way when I was younger. So I don't blame the guy that I was talking to. I don't blame the majority of you if you're watching this thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do with my life. It just got me thinking that most guys my age want luxury, they want the house, they want the cars, they want the watches, they want the women, they want that like lavish lifestyle that they're all admiring for. And in order to get there, they're going to sacrifice everything that they're going to do right now in order to reach that spot. I think if you're a young man or a woman, you've fallen a victim of this trap as well. Um, During this discussion, I honestly was reminded of a phrase that I had read from a book that I've been reading lately. It's called the 4 Hour Work Week, and it's about how to escape, well, the 9 to 5, how to escape the 40-hour work week that most people are stuck in. And within that, the author says a very interesting phrase. It goes, "By the time you're 50, do not end up being the old fat man with a BMW convertible that's red," or something along the lines of that. And it paints a very visual picture, I think, for everyone, including myself. It's just imagine a fat, overweight, unhealthy older man that's in his 50s who now owns a red BMW convertible. Surprisingly, for most people, that's actually the dream. For most people, that's actually how they want to end up. And they're willing to sacrifice 30, 35, 40 years of working in a particular industry just to get to that spot. But here's the thing, that man has one red BMW convertible to show off for 30 years of work. Is it actually the material things that we want to show off for the as the reward for our efforts? Is it not any experiences? Is it not any memories? Is it not any stories that we're gonna have? Because at the end of the day, that car isn't gonna last for more than like 10, 15 years per se. And hell, he might not even be alive for 10, 15 years if he continues the way he's living, the life of chronic stress. Here's the thing I don't understand. People are struggling to earn money that they then want to save who then justify all of the work that they've done by spending it in copious ways, whether that's buying cars, houses, clothes, whatever, to show off as the reward for their efforts. But that happens 30 years down the line, 20, 30 years down the line, where they don't have health, they don't have a bunch of things, and they're essentially trading off their time and their health and their happiness for this one particular material possession that they so desperately desire. What are we doing here? What are we doing here as people? I found this really interesting analogy recently. It's about how a mouse chases cheese. And we all know that the current 9 to 5 climate and the current like workplace structure is called the rat race for a reason. It's because there are a bunch of rat or a bunch of mice who run after cheese with the purpose of trying to attain that cheese just to get stuck and shackled by the mousetrap. And here's the thing about getting rich or seeking money. Most of the time, most businesses and most businessmen are no different from the rest of the people chasing the cheese. It's just that they're also rats just chasing the bigger piece of cheese now just to get shackled by the mousetrap anyway. Let me give you an example. If someone has worked really hard and climbed up the corporate ladder and can now earn, let's say, 7 figures a year, even, you might think, wow, that's a settled person. That guy's got his life together. He's got his shit together. But in reality, he sleeps for like 6 hours a night. He's just chronically stressed out. He's losing his hair from the stress. He's becoming overweight. He's fat. He's somewhat undesirable by people in society. He doesn't have a lot of friends, but he makes those 7 figures, right? It's because we only look at the positive aspects of things and then decide whether that's the kind of life that we want. But here's the thing, the mousetrap will always remain the same. The mousetrap will always shackle him and not allow him to ever experience the actual rewards of being able to spend that money, and only forces him to spend it on material possessions that he can then show, which he will start to dislike after a certain point too. I'm not willing to follow this path, and I don't think you should either. I think I've found my virtue. Instead of chasing money, I'm going to chase freedom. And I want you to chase freedom as well. Get this through your head. It's not the expensive car that you want to own. It's the fact that you can rent and travel in different cars in different places whenever you want to. It's not the expensive house that you want to own. It's actually the ability to live wherever you want, irrespective of commitments. Build freedom. That should be the goal. Build freedom and the money will come naturally. If everyone strived to be free, obviously there'd be a lot of disruptiveness in society, and I don't urge everyone to, frankly, because some people are cut for it, some people aren't. Some people are happier in the rigid, like 9 to 5 lifestyle, go for it. But for people like me, if you're watching this, I'm going to assume you're thinking like me as well, and you don't want to be a part of that race. You don't want to get shackled by the mousetrap. You don't even want cheese anymore. You just want something else. This is your sign of affirmation. I think you're probably right if you're watching this video and you agree with me. Chase freedom instead. Stop chasing money. The modern society is going to, shackle you to this trap of money and then shackle you and control your life. But be the outlier. Be the person that says, no, I don't want to get shackled. I don't want to do that. I want to chase freedom. Reject the trap. Think about that.